The immediate disciples of Jesus of Nazareth were, of course, converts. Converts from Judaism. Similarly, the earliest Christians to appear in the Gentile world were also converts. Converts, in this case, from one or other of the rich diversity of religions with which the Greco-Roman world was so adequately stocked. But with any convert, it is as important, perhaps more important, to understand what they converted from as what they converted to. For any person moving from one tradition to another will understand and interpret the concepts of the later by the familiar intellectual suppositions of the former. In psychological terms, we would call it transfer of training. It is essential, therefore, to appreciate the way in which these early converts thought. For it was they who were to become the presbyters and bishops of the Christian churches, and it was they who were responsible for the creation and development of Christian doctrine. We need not here concern ourselves with every mode of thought to be found within the wide reaches of the Roman Empire, but only with the three which most deeply influenced the development of Christian theology: the philosophers of Stoicism and Platonism, and that curious and eclectic collection of loosely connected sects generally known as Gnosticism. Let us begin with Stoicism. Stoicism was a school of thought founded at Athens in the 4th century BCE by Zeno of Centium. Its viewpoint was entirely materialistic. Unlike Platonism and later Christianity, it denied any separate world of spirit and maintained that there existed only matter. Even its concept of God was not of a supreme being, spiritual and immaterial, but only of a more refined and subtle form of matter, a sort of formless gaseous fire which permeated all things as water permeates a sponge or light permeates air. Yet this gaseous fire was also rational and intelligent. It was not only eminent in all things, bound them together, and made them what they were, but it also ordered them in their courses, and directed them to the proper ends. Because of all of this pervading spirit, or God, the law of nature and the law of duty are incumbent upon all things. Because of it, puppies turn into dogs, and not into cats or jellyfish. The seasons follow one another in their appointed round, and seeds produce plants, which produce fruit, which, in turn, produce further seeds. And as for human beings, the ideal way for them is also to live according to rational nature. And by this, the Stoics understood that the entirety of one's life should be governed by reason, not emotion, and that rational action was the only proper action for a rational being. If we consider how often we act by emotion, instinct, desire, lust, and greed, then we may appreciate a little more clearly how difficult to achieve was the Stoic goal. Stoic influence on Christianity was confined to two main areas. First, the idea that all human beings are rational and have within them the spark of reason, or the divine spark. In later centuries, this would be of fundamental importance in developing the biblical idea that every man and woman is created in the image of God, that is, as a rational creature with God-giving free will. Secondly, Stoicism had a considerable impact on the development of Christian ethics. Goodness for the Stoics was to be found not in external objects, but in the interior state of the soul. A good person is a person who has conquered the passions and desires which disturb the course of everyday life. And a good person manifests the four cardinal virtues of Stoic philosophy: wisdom, courage, justice, and moderation. Furthermore, since all people are manifestations of the one all-pervading spirit, it follows that there is a natural equality among all human beings, and that all human beings should, ideally, love and help one another. It is a noble concept, but despite the fact that Stoic traces can be clearly discerned in the ideas of a number of theologians of the first 3 centuries, it was Platonism, especially from the time of Clement of Alexandria, which had a far more profound effect on the making of Christian doctrine. And it is to a consideration of that school of thought to which we may now turn.